Okay, we're ready.
Very good. Good evening, everyone. My name is Virginia Harger. I'm Chair of the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission. Today is Wednesday, February 5th, 2025, and the regular meeting of the commission being conducted via Zoom is hereby called to order at 6:06 p.m. This meeting is also being carried live on YouTube. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll start off with a roll call of the commission. Please verbally indicate you are present when your name is called. Commissioner Kelly?
Present.
Commissioner Cristiano? Commissioner Motto?
Here.
Commissioner Tiki?
Present.
Commissioner Parkins?
Present.
Alternate Commissioner McGee?
Present.
Alternate Commissioner Apple?
He was here.
He's connecting to audio. It says it on the screen.
Oh, okay.
I'll come back. Myself, Commissioner Harger, Ms. Castro, our Assistant Administrator,
Present.
and Ms. Vernassos, our Recording Secretary,
Present.
Ms. Serbino, our Stenographer.
Present.
Is Attorney Teodoso with us, Ms. Castro?
He is on, but he stepped away.
Yeah, okay. And has Commissioner Cristiano come in yet?
Not yet.
Okay, Commissioner Apple? Is he connected?
He is.
Is his audio on or is he on mute?
Like we just lost him again.
Maybe having technical difficulties.
Okay, just keep me posted on that.
Okay.
A couple of points before continuing with this evening's agenda. Ms. Castro will act as a Zoom meeting host. While commissioners will be able to make comments throughout the meeting, the chair asks that you please identify yourself and wait to be recognized by the chair before speaking to make sure we're not all speaking over each other, to make sure our recording secretary is clear as to who is speaking. So let me ask, any other commissioners join in yet, Ms. Castro?
No.
Okay, so without Commissioner Cristiano and Commissioner Apple, Commissioner McGee, you're going to be seated for Commissioner Cristiano until such time that he is with us, okay?
Looks like Wynn is back on.
Oh, I don't see him on the screen, my screen.
His name's there, his face isn't.
Commissioner Apple, if you're with us, please identify yourself. Okay, I don't hear him at all, so I'm going to continue with alternate Commissioner McGee. You're going to be seated for Commissioner Cristiano
So
until
acknowledged.
we hear otherwise. Okay. First items on the agenda are applications for certificate of zoning compliance, and I understand that the zoning subcommittee met to review each of these 6 sign applications. Is that correct, Commissioner Amato?
Yes, it is.
Very good. So what's the, Commissioner Amato, what's the recommendation of the zoning subcommittee for the first one, the revised monument sign for the entrance of Fountain Square at 801 Bridgeport Avenue?
Yeah, we were, this is exactly what we had asked for, basically. They revised it according to the discussion we had at the previous meeting, so we all agreed that this was fine.
Okay, any questions for Commissioner Amato?
It's no, just by the way, it's no taller. They had planned to make the whole thing taller. It's not any taller. They just added more spaces at the bottom
Okay,
and moved
They
it.
reduced the monuments, the brickwork.
Yeah, so they lengthened it closer to the ground, but
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
not taller. The overall thing is not taller. And the
Okay.
address is at the top, and the Fountain Square is at the top as we had requested.
Good.
I
Yeah.
have one question.
Is that
Um,
Commissioner McGee? Is that you?
Yes. So my one question was, I thought we wanted them to put the Trader Joe's like in, like you see how like Urgent Care, Metro Mattress, Panera Bread, they all have like the white behind them, and it's like they're in like these little boxes. I thought we wanted the Trader Joe's like in the same style and not above that. Or am I just misspeaking?
This was a fair compromise.
Yeah, I think it met we just felt it met what we had asked for. So.
Mhm.
I can add that we did receive one with the white background and it was not pretty.
Oh, really? Yeah, okay.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
All right, so, is there a motion on this application, sign application?
I'll make a motion to approve. Commissioner
I'll second it, Commissioner Kelly.
Okay, motion to approve from Commissioner Amato, seconded by Commissioner Kelly. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Let the record show the vote was 6-0, with no commissioners voting nay and no commissioners abstaining.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Cristiano is logged in.
Okay, Commissioner Cristiano, are you with us?
I am. I apologize for being late.
Okay, let the record show Commissioner Cristiano had joined us at 6:12 p.m. And alternate Commissioner McGee, you are relieved of your duties right now. Okay. All right, so we're on to the second sign application, which is Vitality, 238 Leavenworth Road. Commissioner Amato, what's the recommendation?
Yeah, we had no issues with that sign. I think it's replacing a sign. It's the same size, location.
Is this a new tenant? Or-
I forget.
So they were originally a shared space with Strive to Live Well.
Right,
And so they have taken over the vacant space and expanded, so new addition.
is Strive to Live Well still there?
I'm at a Zoom meeting.
I'm sorry?
Yes,
Okay, because Maria V's was on that side of the plaza.
Okay.
correct. I can add the applicant into,
Okay.
Oh, okay, they're here.
Bye.
Okay, would you please identify yourself for the
hold on
record?
1 second, sorry.
Sure.
Let's see, where'd he go?
Hello, everyone.
Okay, sir, identify yourself for the record, please.
Dr. Jay Meyerson, owner of Strive to Live Well and also owner of Vitality.
Okay, could you just give us a little background on the expansion here?
Yes, there was a previous gym in this space called Anything Goes Fitness with a bright green sign.
Mm-hmm.
We have taken over their space to create a new business that is part of Strive to Live Well.
Mm-hmm.
And our sign matches exactly to the sign that we currently have with different colors.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very good. Any one have any questions for the applicant?
I make a motion to approve the sign.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
All right, so there's a motion to approve from Commissioner Parkins, seconded by Commissioner Kelly. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Let the record show the vote was 6-0, with no commissioners voting nay and no commissioners abstaining. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, next one is Plum Memorial Library, 66 Worcester Street. Commissioner Amato, do you have any comments on this particular one?
Is it? Yeah, a little bit. So as you see from the labeling here, it's an Eagle Scout service project.
Hmm.
Yeah, so which we kind of like that. But the only thing we wanted to suggest putting the address on the top and the established at the bottom. center both of those.
Mm-hmm.
And our discussion, we talked about, we don't usually care about putting an established date on a pretty new business, but this is a historic building, and I think that date is significant for the city and for that particular building and the architecture. So
Mm-hmm. I agree with
That
you
wa-
as
that
well.
was our discussion.
Right.
Okay. So, Ms. Castro, has a revised layout come in, or has it been conveyed to the Eagle Scout?
It was conveyed to the applicant. I've not yet received one. Just, I will note that a revision needs to be submitted to the application prior to approval.
Okay, and the other pages with this particular application.
Didn't we want to know where it was located?
Oh, that's true, yeah.
I don't think there was a
Not shown at
location.
on the building, yeah, on the
Right.
lawn where it's gonna be posted.
Okay, is there anybody here from the library? That-
Yes, one moment. I will add in Attorney Bellis, who's representing.
Good evening.
Evening.
Good evening, Attorney Bellis. Just identify yourself for the record, please.
Sure, I'm Attorney Stephen Bellis. I'm on the Board of Directors for the library,
Mhm.
and I'm helping this Eagle Scout with this project. He has to have it done by March
Mhm.
because he turns a certain age. I don't know if it's 18 or what, and then he can't do it after that particular date.
It is
So I
18.
suggested that he get his application in. I was hoping he'd be on for the meeting tonight, but I don't see him. So the sign is going to be exact location of where it is now. It's not on the building. It's I see a little building. It's to the right of those big shrubs. It's where it's located now, where the parking lot entrance is when you pull in to the rear of the building.
Oh,
There's an
okay.
old dilapidated sign. It's going to be in the same location. Yeah,
Am I on the right track here?
yeah, you're doing pretty good.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, this one right here.
Yep.
yeah, keep going.
Okay.
You found
Oh,
it.
way over there. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's gonna it's replacing that one. And I agree with the commission that the number should be on the top, and I will tell the Eagle Scout to put the number on the top, the street address on the top. And we were hoping this would be a learning experience for him, so that's why I didn't say anything prior to the meeting.
Right. And could you also find out if there's any special reason why we could not spell out street instead of abbreviating it?
Yeah, I don't see a reason. He's engraving this, he told me, or something. I don't know.
I was gonna, ask, is he physically doing this?
Yeah, he
sign,
is.
the
Yeah,
signage, yeah.
Yeah. Sure. I don't see a problem with that. We usually just put the number on the top, right?
Usually.
Yeah, you know what? It's so close to Peary Avenue, it could be a little confusing. So I think having the street name on it is a good idea.
Okay, fine. I'll tell him.
Yeah, from all my years of working at St. Joseph Church right down the street, the rectory itself was Fairmont Place, but the buildings to the right, the convent, this church, and the school were all Corm Avenue, and that led to a lot of confusion.
No, I'll tell him.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you like it, that's fine. I would hope that you would vote on it at this meeting, so because March he'll run out of time, and then I don't know.
Yeah, there's
With the
anyone
with the changes that the board feels appropriate.
right, if there's anyone that wants to make a motion to that effect, that it's approved contingent on the revisions requested by the commission.
Not our standard practice.
Yeah,
Yeah. Which is, what we always ask for, the.
No, I mean, it's not our standard practice to say what we want to have revised and then not see it again before approving it.
Oh,
I understand the time constraint, but it's not that we didn't put it on the agenda.
no, I didn't suggest that.
All right.
well, I would like to move it forward, frankly. I'll make a motion to approve with the changes that we
I'll
had
second
listed.
that.
All right, so Commissioner Motto has made a motion to approve with the changes that we just discussed. And Commissioner Kelly has indicated he will do a second on that. So does everyone understand the motion? It's a motion to approve with the street address and the established as on separate lines, one at the top, one at the bottom, centered. So all in favor, please signify it by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Let the record show the vote was 6-0 with no commissioners voting nay and no commissioners abstaining. Thank you very much, Attorney Bellis.
Thank you all. I'll see you in a little while. I have another matter on a little later.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Fourth sign is Citgo at 265 Bridgeport Avenue. Commissioner Mata, what do you like to tell us about this?
Yeah, not a whole lot. I guess we wanted to put that 265 and on the top. That's the address apparently.
Right.
And let them know that the All City Fresh Mart, if they wanted to take the whole space across the bottom, that would be okay. But
Oh, that's a good idea
yeah, it's a little hard to
to see it.
see.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Tell you the truth, with the 265 down there, at first glance, I might think that that was the price of gas.
Well,
Exactly.
really good point. Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, is the applicant with us this evening, Ms. Castro?
I do not see them, but they were contacted, and so they were going to speak with the property owner and go over the revisions. I have
Mhm.
not received them yet.
Okay, so does the commission want to table this?
I think so. I mean, maybe it seems inconsistent. I think it was a special situation with the previous sign.
Mhm.
And I think they could make the revisions and let's take a look.
Mhm. All right, so is there someone that wants to make a motion to table?
Commissioner Ticky will motion to table.
Okay, there's a motion to table from Commissioner Ticky. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner
Commissioner
Morrow has seconded it. So all in favor of the motion to table the sign application for Citgo, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Let the record show the vote was 6-0 with no commissioners voting nay and no commissioners abstaining. Okay, and number 5, D'Addario Motors, 329 Bridgeport Avenue. Commissioner Motto?
Yeah, these signs are in the same place, same location, same size, and just kind of modernize the look. So I don't know if we have a comparison, but we thought they looked good.
Mm-hmm.
There's more than one sign there, I think, right?
Yeah, I'm trying
Yeah.
to pull up on the map
And you
to
had-
show the reference. This is the first sign. This is the second sign. And I will share the current street view. So they are only taking over what is already existing in these two locations, replacing.
All right, so the one that's furthest out to the left, it's right now there's 4, looks like 4 lines, but now it's only going to be 3.
3.
And the one on the right, instead of it having all that, it's just going to say certified service.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions for staff or for Commissioner Motto? Okay, so Commissioner Motto, was the recommendation to approve as submitted?
Yes.
Okay, is there anyone that wants to make a motion?
I'll make that motion to approve as submitted.
Okay,
Kelly.
is there a second?
Commissioner Ticky will second.
Okay, so the motion made to approve as submitted from Commissioner Kelly, seconded by Commissioner Ticky. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Let the record show the vote was 6-0 with no commissioners voting nay and no commissioners abstaining. Okay, last one, Kumon at 698 to 708 Bridgeport Avenue, and it looks like it's taking up space at 702 Bridgeport Avenue. Commissioner Amato, what's the recommendation of the zoning subcommittee?
Yeah. It's, yeah. So we were not in favor of the roof location.
Alright.
There's Kumon there already, but apparently they're taking up more space.
Mhm.
So we thought they could put that sign, say center it in those top glass panels in that area
Mhm.
if they wanted. And they got their phone number on that. I don't know. Did we talk about that phone number on the door?
Yeah, that it shouldn't be there.
Yep, right.
Yeah. So
It's allowed to be on the door, but it shouldn't be up above that.
that, yeah, it should be somewhere in the, like maybe on the door. It is there too. They've got the phone number in two places, looks like.
Yeah, Alex,
They have Kumon in three places.
could you
yeah.
go to the next page because it shows a close-up? That one there. So it has besides the phone number on the right panel, glass panel, it also has their website address. And there's an awful lot of copy
Information, yeah.
on those panels.
Added in the applicant. Ashley. And I can just share the street view for you.
So
to
there
go-
are no other tenants besides the wine emporium that have a roof mounted sign.
Correct. The other ones have them up against the wall. This doesn't provide that same option.
Yeah. All right, so I would say strike that on the roof. And what about the phone number and the website address on the door? There's one on the door already on the right side. It looks like, and on the left side as well. So,
I have
Yeah.
the applicant added on if you would
Yeah.
like to discuss.
yeah, now I'm just saying my recommendation is to take those off of the glass panels, and if they want to have both of the phone number and the website, one of the phone numbers on the glass door changes to the website. Can you zoom on that? Here we go. What's the rest of the commission feel about the phone number and the website that are on the blue? With the blue
It should be
background
fine next to one another, that's fine. And then
No, on the
No.
door in
on the
white.
door. Otherwise, we're starting a whole new style.
Yeah, no, that's too much
Yeah,
writing. The Kumon is on there 3 times.
right.
The phone number's on there at least twice.
Well,
Yeah,
it's on both doors and in the blue panel. So,
yeah,
Okay,
3 times. Yeah,
Yep, I agree.
yeah.
Yeah, that's enough.
and then all the writing there, the world's most successful after school.
Learning program, yeah, is the one
Yeah.
on the left. The one in the middle says an academic enrichment program, preschool through high school, and the one on the right says free assessment. I don't remember other tenants having,
Our regulations allows only certain amount of
Certain square
glass
footage, right?
coverage, right?
Yeah,
I mean, if you look right to the right to the left of that, somebody's got an awful lot of stuff in their windows as well.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I think that's the wine store, isn't it?
No, that might be Subway, Super Sandwich. It's hard to say without seeing the whole
Yeah.
preview. So, all right, what do you want to do about the 3 panels that have all the copy?
like pick one.
Well, I don't mind the 2 panels that are going to have the white copy, but they've got to
Uh-huh.
clean up everything else. So if they want their name to stand out, then the only thing that should be blue should be the 2 top center panels where the Kumon should be centered.
Instead of the phone number.
No,
Yeah,
above that.
no phone number.
above that.
Yeah.
About in the clear glass, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because the space is bigger.
Mm-hmm. All right, then why don't we table this and ask the applicant to come back with the revisions that we've been
That
discussing?
version.
Yep,
Yeah.
an updated version. It's got too many moving parts, I think, for us to,
Yeah, there's a lot.
yep.
So, yeah.
All right, is there a motion to table?
Can I speak?
Oh, who is this?
The applicant.
Okay, sure. Identify yourself for the record, please.
My name is Ashley Andrews. We were just wondering if you guys had any suggestions for us for the sign, because I mean, that's our only option is the roof sign.
No, it's not. And as Commissioner Parkins mentioned, the above the blue band there where the phone number is, you've got 2 glass panels there. You also have 2 doors. You have Kumon on 1 door already.
Okay.
And then bottom right.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's a little bit too much. So, Ms. Castro, you have an idea of what we're striving for?
Yes.
Okay, then why don't you work with the applicant and see what you can come up with as soon as possible so we can get this on an upcoming agenda. Ms. Andrews, what is your occupancy? Are you there now?
Sorry. I'm sorry, what?
Are you currently occupying this space?
No, I'm just representing them.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. So,
But it is in business now, from what I had understood. They're
Yes.
just taking up another store. It's like,
Right.
yeah, expanding the space.
mhm. Yeah, why don't you get a revision ready so that the zoning subcommittee can see it and we can get it on an agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so is there a motion to table?
Commissioner Parkins will make a motion table.
Okay, and is there a second?
I will second Commissioner Matto.
Okay, so on the motion to table, the sign application for Kumon, made by Commissioner Parkins and seconded by Commissioner Motto. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Let the record know the vote was 6-0 with no commissioners voting nay and no commissioners abstaining. Next on the agenda are the continuation of public hearings, and I just want to share the protocol that we will be following. Staff will indicate if any written comments were received from the public no later than 24 hours before the start of this evening's meeting. If written comments were received, they will be read into the record. The applicant and our associates will make their presentation. The commission can ask questions during the presentation or at its conclusion. The applicant and our associates can answer commission questions at the time they are presented or at the conclusion of the presentation. There will be a point in the public hearing when I ask for public comment, and we will begin with elected officials of the city, followed by members of the public. And after, to identify yourself that you want to speak, if you're on Zoom, you're going to use Zoom's raise your hand feature. If you're participating through a phone link, you have to dial *9. After you're recognized, please state and spell your name and state your address, and that's to assist our recording secretary and the stenographer when doing the minutes and transcript of the public hearing. Each speaker has 5 minutes to present, which should address specific criteria of the zoning regulations, the merits of the application, and be new information, not a repeat of comments presented by a previous speaker. Comments and questions should be directed to the commission, not to the applicant and or associates. Members of the public are expected to practice appropriate etiquette by being quiet, observant, and respectful. Disruptive attendees may be removed from verbally participating. The applicant's attorney and our associates will be given the opportunity to address any comments or questions from the public after the last person has been given the opportunity to speak. The commission feels further information is needed from the applicant. The chair will ask for a motion to continue the public hearing. If public hearing remains open, the commission is not allowed, excuse me, to make any public comment, discuss any part of the applicant and or his associate's presentation, or receive any additional information from anyone. And if the commission feels the applicant and or associates have answered all questions and have addressed all concerns from the commission and or public, the public hearing will close. The commission reserves the right to discuss the application at the close of the public hearing or to schedule a discussion at an upcoming commission meeting. Ms. Castro, let me just note for the record that I see that Attorney Teodoso has joined us at, right now it's at 6:36 p.m. and I see the applicant is here, Attorney Thomas, and also Mr. Rose. So Attorney Thomas, please identify yourself for the record as being the continuation of the public hearing for application 2420. Dominic Thomas for Crown Point 2 LLC at 0 Bridgeport Avenue and 48 Long Hill Crossroads. Assessors map 50, lots 15 and 16, an LIP zone for a planned development district for a mixed-use commercial development to include a hotel, restaurants, grocery, and retail. Just a reminder that this application was accepted for review on July 10th, 2024. A public hearing opened on September 18th and was continued to November 20th and January 22nd. And it was at the January 22nd meeting that a revised statement of uses and standards and a revised site plan was presented to the commission and discussed by the applicant. Let me just ask Ms. Castro, were any other reports, materials, or correspondence received within the time period for this application, but not yet posted to the city's website that we need to acknowledge for the record?
No.
Okay. Okay, Attorney Thomas.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Attorney Dominic Thomas, Cohen and Thomas, 315 Main Street, Derby, Connecticut, representing the applicant. As we explained at the last hearing when we submitted the revised plans, these plans are the evolution of substantial discussions and negotiations with the representatives of Hawks Ridge Association. And since that last meeting, we have revised and pretty much, I'd say, reached the 99% level of the agreement between the Hawks Ridge Association and my client. We think that the negotiations and everything has resulted in a better proposal. And if you would like, Madam Chair, I can screen share and review the changes in some. And we have Pat Rose here, and I believe Manny Silva's also here if you need any more detail. And if I can screen share, let me see, I get the right. I will state that I modified the statement of uses and standards to include the changes that were in the site plan. And this is the revised site plan. And I just want to blow it up a little bit for you. And to review the significant changes in the site plan itself is the client has agreed to have a no-build area in the pad that was down in this area. The client has agreed to, as was explained at the last hearing, these buildings in the center were reconfigured. And Pat Rose is here to explain to you again how it was to create a different flow throughout. On the top area, the revised plan moves the PDD back to the back boundary and includes 8 townhouses, and similarly in design to the Hawks Ridge, which after discussions with them create, as Attorney McCann said at the last meeting, created a buffer that they proposed. I will let you know, and again, Manny Silva and Pat are here to explain. The WPCA has been, engineers have been going back and forth with our engineers, and we have, we believe the finally resolved all the technical issues with respect to the relocation of the sewer line. And part of the proposal then says that this crosshatched area here will be a conservation easement to allow it to grow in its natural state, with the only exception to it being the road, the service road and sewer line that will serve the newly relocated sewer line. In addition to this, there is a substantial buffer planting, as you saw, but most significantly, efforts will be made and to go to wetlands in order to have a connection from Crown Point Center into here, which was part of the approval of PDD 48. And that connection would then serve as the construction entrance. And after a period of 5.5 months from the approval of the final site development plans, there would be no more construction vehicles entering from Long Hill Crossroads, except for the construction of the townhouses. That's basically a summary of the changes in the plans that resulted. The agreement does have other provisions detailing the time frame to put in the buffer, which is a substantial evergreen buffer, but it does take into account field conditions, such as the fact that we are subject, obviously, to Aquarian to have the water go on the site, because you certainly don't want to plant landscaping plantings without having water to maintain them. But again, all of these things are have been taken into account. I will also note for the record that we just received and are ready to now file with wetlands. We received the extensive wetlands report from our soil scientists, so we are ready to take the next step in that. And that's my summary. I can stop sharing, and certainly if you want a more detailed explanation, Pat is here and he can screen share, and he has the color site plan that I'm sure he can share with you if that's what you wish.
Sure. Any commissioners have any questions before Attorney Thomas turns it over to Mr. Rose?
Madam Chair,
Yep,
Commissioner
go ahead.
Cristiano.
Go ahead.
I believe an outstanding question from the last time we met on this application was the residential units on the upper portion of the pad, that perhaps the commission was not in favor of moving forward with this application if those were going to be considered. Where are we on that position?
That is something that I agree with. I don't really care for a residential component to this. I understand the logic why the applicant would want it, but I'd rather that whole section up in the back be left, say, in a natural state. And there could be certainly a replacement of a lot of the brush and trees that were taken down to prepare the site.
Or to be used for light industrial as it was intended.
Or it could be, yeah.
They said they were going to extend the PDD to the whole piece of property.
You're right.
Oh,
That's exactly
okay.
what they said.
So I personally would think if we're going to reject that area for housing, we should have them extend the conservation section through there, make that a permanent part of the PDD.
Mm-hmm.
If I
Yeah.
can respond to that as I responded last week. Clients do need to make money when they do things, and I know that that's what everybody says. As we explained to you, there are approximately $5 million of off-site improvements, public improvements to the roads and highways that are often complained about. Clients do not have slush funds to be able to just draw them and do that. They need to develop those funds from the project. A pad was moved, a smaller pad substituted. In order to make it work financially, there has to be something at the top. What we chose at the top was something that the opponents felt was in the best interest. If in fact the issue of making the top open space is not reasonable, it's not reasonable financially, nor is it reasonable from a planning perspective. Certainly, if you wanted to say move the line down back to the top of the retaining wall, you could do that and leave the top, and the top would be LIP. And there are LIP uses that can be incorporated up there, such as construction, such as business condos or storage, self-storage, or something along those lines that would be able to be incorporated up there and work around the sewer line. However, as part of it, there is a need for there to be development upstairs up top, in order to pay for the extensive. I mean, people come in and they complain about the traffic on Bridgeport Avenue, and they complain about other things. And all of the traffic improvements on Bridgeport Avenue have been done by developers. I don't recall one improvement since I've been practicing on Bridgeport Avenue was the result of the city paying the money or the state forking over money, except for minor little things. The major improvements are done, and the developers have to be able to pay for it with the funds coming out of their project. They have to be able to go to banks and be reasonable to borrow money and say, I can support that loan to be able to do these offsite. In this case, you heard, if you remember the first hearing when Dave Sullivan presented, those were substantial improvements going all the way down to what is now exit 11, I believe. Used to be exit 13. And they go all the way down there, including an extra lane or redesigning of the lanes, a traffic light, which is substantial, and other improvements to Long Hill Crossroads. So again, if the commission's feeling is you want LIP, I'm not sure if that's something that Hawks Ridge would be happy with, because it would certainly, whatever you go there, even the lower ones would certainly generate a lot more
Attorney Thomas, with all due respect, this commission of elected officials are the ones that make a decision as to what should be in a PDD, not the opponents. So for you to just say that this is what the opponents want and this is what we're proposing, it just does not make sense to me.
No,
so
it makes sense in this fashion, that often commissions.
I disagree. I do not believe
if I can
housing
explain
belongs
how,
to this PDD.
I'm trying to work it out.
I agree with Commissioner Harkins that this continued rendition from you, Attorney Thomas, that we need to acquiesce to the wishes of Hawks Ridge is inappropriate. I'm not saying we don't take things into consideration, but that's what your agenda's been for the last two meetings.
Yeah,
we need
you're
to
just been
listen
worried about
to your
appeasing them.
negotiations with Hawk Ridge, and I find it to be a little too much at this point.
Well, my position is simply this: whenever there is opponents, I believe it benefits everybody if you try to work it out. I'm not telling you have to go along with what Hawks Ridge said. I think it's important that a developer works with opponents rather than fights with opponents.
So why
If you do not want to approve that, I'm saying my client has no problem as long as it's left. The option is not that it be left as open space and not developable. If the position of the commission is that the upper area has to be does not to be residential, I don't think it's appropriate to say it must be open space. I think it would be more appropriate to say it should be left as existing zoning, which would be light industrial.
I understand any developer wanting to maximize what goes on in any particular project, but we're not in any position to just to analyze the money in any detail that makes sense to say that it's absolutely not viable unless they have those few dwelling units up there.
Well, I agree. They wanted, at first there was a project where we had dwellings up in that area, and no one wanted that. Then on Bridgeport Avenue, we have this project. Well, we're looking down on the roast of some with the signs of some, so on and so on. That basically is their problem. They bought the area. They look down all the time. I mean, I can't see them holding a gun to the commission.
Mhm. You know, we would value, and we do take into consideration all opinions that are presented,
Ours.
but ultimately the decision is ours. And as Attorney Thomas just indicated, yes, it could be left to LIP. And if Mr. Rose, if when you start speaking, if somebody could compute again that how much acreage that is back there, I would appreciate it. I thought I had that written down, but all I don't have it for sure. Okay. All right, Attorney Thomas, is there anything else you wanted to point out to us?
I thought you wanted Pat Rose to
Yeah, I
identify.
will, but is there
Okay.
anything before?
No, again, I'm not saying you have to follow them or follow that. I want to explain to you how we worked it out.
Mhm.
A lot of commissions that I go before do like that where the opponents are dealt with. We've dealt with them. We've addressed a lot of their issues. But as far as the top issue goes, what I'm saying is if you don't like the residential, if it's left LIP, it's not a question. I think we presented substantial evidence as to the cost of the outside, the amount of the offsite improvements that are required and will be required by OSTA. So that is my point with respect to that. And certainly, if the commission's decision was that all we have to do is take the PDD line and move it down to the top of the retaining wall.
Mhm. Yeah, everybody knows where the retaining wall is on the diagrams.
Pat can point that out.
Let me share my screen and I'll point it out.
All right, so Attorney Rose,
Bless you.
Mr. Rose, is there something in particular you want to start off with?
I don't have any. I can give you a little bit more definition as to what we're doing. This was the old plan. Just sort of
Right.
do that. Let's go back. You know, the old plan has changed significantly. And what we'd be talking about is this line along here
Mm-hmm.
is where we would change from the PDD to the LIP. So
Mhm.
this whole section on top would end up being LIP.
And
I don't know if Dominic, you have the numbers. We did this calculation previously when we were looking at just making the PDD the back of the retaining wall one time. I don't have it off the top of my head or on the drawings I have with me right now.
Yeah, I believe it's about 4 point something acres,
Yeah.
probably 5 acres.
Between 4 and 5 acres. Yeah.
Yes,
that whole rear area.
Yep.
Where it
right.
says conservation easement all the way to Long Hill Crossroads.
Here,
Yeah.
all the way to Long Hill Crossroads. Right.
It would be what we did is with the 8 is a little under 2 units. In a computation was a little under 2 units per acre, but rounding off to 2 units per acre.
The area right or left of this project, is that LIP also?
Where it says 88 Long Hill Crossroads,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's Modern Plastics. It's a
I
building
know,
owned by
so
RB
it's an
Syntec.
LIP, right?
Yeah, oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, it is.
thank you.
There's another tenant in the front, I believe, in that building as well.
Right, correct, yes.
Yeah. All right, so if there aren't any questions for Attorney Thomas, Mr. Rose, what was it that you wanted to
No, we already presented this whole layout. One of the things that has changed is that this would become a no-build zone. We're talking about this corner. So that allows this to become green space.
Mhm.
There will be some minor changes at Long Hill Crossroads at the intersection. We have provided a sidewalk all along Bridgeport Avenue,
Mhm.
and there will be a walk coming from our pedestrian walk system out to Bridgeport Avenue across the bridge.
Are those areas that you have wetlands filling that it still has to be approved by the inland?
This still has to be approved. And there's one other area right here that has to be approved.
Mm-hmm.
And there'll be, what we're talking about over is the connection to the Crown Point property, that there'll be a culvert installed here, which will have some minor filling, minor disturbance, not filling.
Mm-hmm.
So we can have a connection to this hotel parcel.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Our, you know, in this helps us as far as putting all the retail in one spot, putting all the parking in one spot, gives us more room to provide green space in this location and in this location, because we've also got, you know, a small restaurant with a drive-through in this here. So it really helps the project become more obvious green spaces between different pieces. And I think that that's one of the benefits of our discussion that we had with Hawks Ridge.
Okay. On that section to the north, can you move your site plan over?
Yep.
For where it would connect to the existing Wild Kanji parking lot, how many parking spaces are going to be lost?
Actually none.
Really?
Yeah, because it's right after you come over the bridge and there isn't parking in that location.
Okay. That's
That,
good to know.
that was due to the brilliance of one Anthony J. Panico.
Mm-hmm.
He designed it back then at a point where it would have the least impact upon the wetlands and that little drainage ditch coming down, and it would come off of the bridge as opposed to the parking.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just after the bridge.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Yep.
Okay.
So that I have no new information to provide other than to try and clarify some questions you have.
Okay, any comments, questions, or concerns for Mr. Rose from the commission? Okay, hearing none, we can move on to the public portion. However, there is really no new information that has been submitted by the applicant since the last public hearing on January 22nd. So if there is anyone from the city of Shelton, an elected official that wants to comment, you can do so, but it cannot be a repeat of everything that we've heard so far. So if there is any city official, please use Zoom's raise your hand feature or dial *9.
None showing.
Okay, if there's any member of the public that wants to comment.
I am adding in Attorney McCann.
Okay. Attorney McCann, you have 5 minutes. Just identify yourself for the record, please.
Good evening, Brian McCann from the law firm Pullman Comley. I represent the Hawksbridge Association. As Attorney Thomas said, we have had considerable discussions with the developer, and we appreciate their opportunity to hear the concerns of Hawks Ridge. But I also just want to point out for the commission that, you know, I don't think, first of all, Hawks Ridge does appreciate the visual buffer and the transitional use that's being made at the top of the hill. But in response to the comment that, you know, that the commission or the developer is just sort of, you know, conceding to or bowing to the demands of Hawks Ridge, I don't think that's truly the case here. I think Hawks Ridge has assembled a team of professionals to take a look. I mean, you've heard from Solely Engineering. You've heard from Tyche Planning Professionals, and you've heard from Michelle Ford, the wetland scientist. And part of our presentation, and then, albeit quite some time ago, because this has gone on for a while, but part of our presentation was providing some of the legal standard for a zone change application, and some of the evidence that we've provided is a need for compliance, the legal standard for compliance with the POCD, and compliance with enumerated police powers, compliance with a legal standard of that a commission is acting in the best interest of the community when it acts on a zone change application. Our professionals have reviewed this plan, presented testimony to the commission for the need for green space. The zoning code requires public spaces, green spaces, conservation of open areas and inland wetlands, and provides for a consideration of transitional zones and transitional uses between different uses, residential, commercial. So I don't think that Crown Point 2 or the commission would be, conceding to the requests of Hawks Ridge if they were to consider this upper townhouse area. I think in providing the conservation area, in providing the no-build area with public gathering spaces, and providing the visual buffer, not only the vegetated buffer, but the visual buffer of the residential buildings, I believe that they'd be complying with the regulations and the plan of conservation and development. And that's not just purely my opinion. I believe that we've presented multiple experts who have opined the same. So I would just ask the commission to take a look back at some of those materials and just please consider some of those expert opinions that were offered. I think that leaving that upper area to LIP, we had an expert that weighed in on leaving the property as LIP, but it was a review of the main parcel being left as LIP with buffer areas around the perimeter. I believe that pushing that light industrial use or uses up into the upper portion of the property towards the residential use directly across the street from the residential development of Hawks Ridge would be quite a different situation, and incredibly, potentially incredibly disruptive to that adjacent use. But I believe the plan as amended, as presented tonight, is a vast improvement over the prior plan. So we just urge you to please look at those expert materials and consider that request. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Attorney McCann. Ms. Castro, is there anyone else?
No one showing.
Okay, so does any commissioners have any questions for the applicant at all?
I just find it kind of a little unfair that the development is so concerned about privacy and what they're going to overlook and what they're going to hear. And I think the applicant has done a lot to allay a lot of those fears with his, that no build zone, etc. I think they've made great concessions, and I applaud them for doing that. However, these folks these 8 units are now going to be overlooking a shopping center, so they're putting people into a situation that they don't want to be in to afford them additional buffer. I'm not seeing the logic in that either.
Mhm. Got it.
Yeah, for me, it's not a question of LIP versus residential. It's a question of anything versus leaving that as a buffer to the.
I'm just not in favor of adding residential to a commercial PDD.
Mm-hmm. Okay, anybody else? Okay, if not, then how does the Attorney Thomas, you have any final words? You're on mute.
My apologies, because of, I think to sum it up, I do want to stress again, I know you're tired of hearing it, that because of the enormous OSTA implications for off-site improvements, I don't think it is reasonable to leave the top as complete open space. It needs to have some development. The commission feels the residential is inappropriate. It is very easy to simply approve the initial concept, not development concept plans, but moving the PDD line to the top of the retaining wall, leaving the remaining as LIP, and letting the top be developed at some point relating to that. And we can move from there. I think the plans that we've submitted are very detailed, and the commission can make a reasonable decision with respect to all the changes we've made on the bottom. I think that the client is still committed, even with that, to go and seek from wetlands the ability to have an entrance from Crown Point Center.
All right, very good. How does the commission like to proceed on this particular public hearing?
I think we could close on this.
All right, Commissioner Motto, you making a motion to that
Looks
effect?
like Attorney Tedosio is motioning for you. But
I didn't see. Attorney Titoso, did you want to comment? You're on mute if you do.
I do. I've been listening to the presentation and I'm not sure I understand if there's a proposal by Attorney Thomas to submit the entire project as a PDD or to move that line back. And I think that that is something that the commission needs to know before it closes its public hearing.
Good point.
I will respond. I don't know if Attorney Theodosia was aware. The first revision to the plan that we made did move the line down to the retaining wall. So there was a submission with the line at the retaining wall. And then this revision, it went up to the retaining wall. What my point is, if the commission wishes to leave it, we can certainly move it back down to the retaining wall. I could be requested to submit a revised initial development concept plan, which I will do, which will and statement of uses and standards, which will show the exact acreage of the PDD.
But that line being moved back to the retaining wall leaves above it the proposed open space and the proposed green areas. And it's not clear from your presentation if you're changing back 100% or just with regard to the line. And I think that has an effect on the southern side of the project where it's closest to the Hawks Ridge development, because there's a proposal for a green area there too and a sidewalk.
So if the line moves down to the retaining wall, the upper area would remain LIP. Obviously, the proposed townhouses would go away, and there's no conservation easement being proposed. We are not proposing a conservation easement. Our position is that the upper area would stay LIP, and it would not be part of the PDD. It's not part of the PDD. It's not within the jurisdiction of the commission.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is, if you say to the commission right now, go back to the wall, is that your application? Is that your submission? Or are you saying commission pick one or the other? Because I
Well-
think you have to make the application to the commission.
Well, certainly based on the statements of the commission, tonight, my position would be move it to the, wall, but the commission has the ability to approve, deny, or modify.
Agreed, but I
they
think the
could-
commission is entitled to know what your proposal is first.
My proposal, and I suppose the best way to word it in the alternative would be to say, if the commission is not pleased with the plan that resulted from the negotiations as to the upper area, then my client's position would be that the line for the PDD would move to the top of the retaining wall. I would then, as part of the condition of approval, be required to amend the statement of uses and standards. We would amend the site plan to remove the residential, and the top area would remain LIP. And the amount of the PDD would go from approximately 20 point something acres, which includes the property that is being purchased from the state of Connecticut, down to about 15 point something acres.
Exactly.
And that would be our proposal, given the fact that the commission is not at this point, does not appear to be in favor. However, the commission retains the power, as it always does, to deny, approve, or modify any such application. So the commission can eventually choose to do whatever it wishes on that.
Should the applicant just resubmit a drawing showing what the proposal would be at this point?
I think that would be a prudent way to go.
I
So
do
we're
too.
all on the
I
same
also
page.
think we would need to see where the landscape buffer would fall without the upper section part of the PDD.
Correct.
Which means we need to keep the hearing open.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, I'm assuming this would be able to be put on for the, what is it,
Next meeting is the 19th.
the 19th, so I assume it would be able to be put on for the 19th for us to be able to, we would be able to get the plan in very quickly.
Yeah, I think that's manageable.
Okay.
All right, so is there a motion to continue the public hearing?
Commissioner Kelly will make that motion.
And is there a second?
Commissioner Parkins will second.
Before I ask for a vote, Ms. Castro, where are we on the timing? We don't need a letter of extension, do we?
We would.
We would.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can give you a letter extension, again, keeping in mind this is not an automatic approval type of
Right.
application.
Okay. All right, so on the motion to continue the public hearing made by Commissioner Kelly, seconded by Commissioner Parkins. I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Cristiano,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto. Aye. Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion to continue the public hearing has passed by a vote of 6-0. Thank you very much, and we expect to see some modified site plans so that we can get this on the agenda for the 19th.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, moving on to next item is 2430. Steve Bellis for Steven Shapiro, proposal to amend the Shelton Planning and Zoning Regulations by adding section 37, age restricted residential development. This is continuation of the public hearing. Just late this afternoon, let me back up first. The public hearing for this opened on January 22nd, 2025, and posted to the city's website is the application, a proposed text change, a map prepared by NVCOG showing the roadways stated in the text change and the adjacent neighborhoods that would be affected, a list of properties, a revised text amendment, addresses of specific properties that would be affected, and 2 GIS maps with those properties marked. Very late this afternoon, we received an opinion from Attorney Jason McCoy, who was retained to review the application, and I'd like to request that the applicant grant an extension to allow the commission and the applicant the opportunity to review this material. It's a document that's about 4 pages long. Attorney Bellis?
Yes, good evening, everyone, again. So as you may recall, you're acting in your legislative capacity when we do a text amendment. So it's a little bit more back and forth between the applicant and the commission than it would be if it were an administrative, where you're looking to see whether something should be approved or not under your zoning regulations. So we're acting as a different role, both of us. And let me just say, I'll just back up a little bit and I won't take too long. I don't know if you all saw the most recent report that went to the legislature. Connecticut has the tightest, we're the distinction of the tightest housing market in the whole United States. We only have a 7% vacancy rate in the whole state. And according to the legislature, we need 110,000 more units in our state for the people that need housing, whether any kind, apartments, single family, whatever it may be. So that was the impetus for doing this particular text amendment. The second thing was to give developers and owners a tool, and the commission, a tool in their toolbox other than 830G, which none of us really like, because under 8-30G, there is no limit to the density, and it can be anywhere in town other than industrial. So the purpose of this at first was to, when I met with the commission at a work session, was maybe we should have this not just in one area of town, but perhaps spread it over different areas of town. But when I presented to the commission last month, or I think it was last month, that did not go over well. So I understood what you all said. And so what I did was I revised the text amendment. It now only applies to a very limited size parcels, those parcels, and only in the R1 zone. So you would have an overlay. You're allowed to have an overlay zone in Connecticut that hovers above the underlying zone. And it doesn't land unless you meet the specific requirements. And in the requirements for this overlay zone now, which, because it's been revised after we had our last meeting, is that it's only in an R1 area, and the parcel has to be between 1.5 acres and 2.5 acres. So just to be clear, if you have a 3-acre parcel, the overlay zone would not land because you don't fall within the text amendment. If you have a parcel that's 1 acre, this text amendment would not apply because you don't fall within the 1.5 to 2.5 acres. Further, and it's an and, not an or, and the property has to be on Route 108 between Shelton Avenue and Huntington Street. That's it. Or south of Stratford Road and east of Route 8. So it's a very, very limited area where these can land. And the commission asked, I think they asked staff, but I volunteered to do it. Well, what parcels would be affected by this overlay zone? So I've listed the parcels that would be affected first by east of Route 8, and there's 7, I apologize, 7. 51 Armstrong, 5 James Farm Road, blah, 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 blah. There's only 7 of them. And then I put it on the map so you can have an idea of what these parcels look like. Same thing with the parcels that are affected on the Route 108, I apologize. Route 108, there's only 5 parcels that would be affected by this text amendment. And I can tell you that on all 12 of these parcels, there's an existing house. So I'm not sure that there's going to be a ton of developers that are going to want to jump in and use this text amendment because there aren't any vacant land. They already have houses on it, and you'd have to pay the owner, the price of what he wants for his house. So I have a feeling that this is a very limited use and is not going to be something that is going to solve the $110,000 units that the state of Connecticut needs. But what it does do is it makes, and let me make it clear, you can only build 7 units on, that's the limitation per builder's acre. So at worst, if you have a 1.5, you can build approximately 10 units. If you have 2.5, well, it's a 14, maybe 20 units on 2.5 acres. So that would be a max. The other thing that I wanted to point out was this is just a text amendment. It goes in the zoning regulations book. An applicant would have to make an application to your commission for a zone change, changing it to this overlay zone. And secondly, a special exception application to show you the site plan, the drainage, septic, sewer, all the usual things that we have to provide to the commission before it's approved. So this text amendment is just an outline, let's call it, of what may be permitted on these particular parcels. So that was what I heard from the commission, I think pretty loud and clear. So that's why I have revised it in its scale. And that is why I've limited it to much more narrow areas of town. And the reason for that is because I heard your feedback, and which is what we're supposed to do when we're acting as legislators on a text amendment. So initially, we came in with a larger proposal because I thought that was what was perhaps something that you may want to entertain after we had our work session, but I don't believe that to be true any longer. So having said that, I did what the commission wanted. Yes, I did get I did not see this letter from an attorney as Commissioner Harder had suggested. Maybe it was filed late. I've since read it quickly. I don't know who the gentleman represents, who he doesn't say who he represents. And I disagree with a lot of what's in his letter. This is not an affordable housing application. This is a text amendment only for age-restricted developments. And we have age-restricted developments in town and certainly in other towns. I think there was a question by Commissioner Oppel last time that I want to give him an answer to on what does the statute say for elderly housing. It could have been Commissioner Kelly if I got it mixed up. So the statute says that for purposes of the statute, elderly units, that's what they call these, are dwelling units whose occupancy is restricted by age. I think the question was, is it restricted by ownership? And the answer seems to be no, it's restricted by occupancy. So the people that live in the units have to be 55 and older.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Commissioner Cristiano.
are we hearing this application tonight or we're not hearing this application tonight?
Attorney Bellis, how much more comment do you have?
No, that was my presentation.
I thought we weren't hearing it tonight. I thought we were passing it to another night.
Well,
If we're gonna hear it tonight, then I'd like to be heard on it, and I'd like to then move forward on it and see if the commission's willing to make a decision on this tonight. If we're not, then let's move it to another night.
I don't know. It's really up to you guys, not me.
That's what I was about to say. If the commission feels that they have enough information to move forward with it, someone certainly can make a motion to that effect to approve or deny. If you want to table it, to take the time to read over what Attorney McCoy has submitted, we could do that as well. What is the commission's preference?
If I'm clear, Attorney McCoy is hired by the city, by the Planning and Zoning Commission to represent and provide us insight on matters
Mhm.
that we ask him to. The letter was, his opinion was prepared at our request. Is that correct, Madam Chair?
That's my understanding as well.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, since we just got this at after 5:03 PM, I'd like the time to review it.
And also let Attorney McCoy give us a explanation or his thing on it.
And we have maps. Are there maps prepared? I didn't see them, but I may have missed
They're
that.
online.
They're
There's,
online. Okay.
there are certain parcels. There's a list of addresses as Trini Bellis
Yeah. Okay.
mentioned, and there's a GIS map where there are X's doing.
Yeah, that's what the commission asked, so that's why I provided it. It's
Okay.
not part of the, that's not part of the text amendment. That was information that the commission specifically asked.
Yeah, this has been scaled back.
Oh, significantly, yes.
Mhm.
It's scaled back to something that's similar to spot zoning. And, and I think that's what was in part, what we were looking for an answer on by Attorney McCoy. And I think he provided quite a detailed response. Again, we can review it and pass it to another night, but
Let me just ask Attorney Tito, so are you familiar with the material that came in?
Yes, I am. I received it at the same time that you all did.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite a detailed presentation. If you haven't read it, I think you owe it to yourselves and the commission to read it before taking any further action.
Mm-hmm. And can you address what Commissioner Cristiano was concerned about, the spot zoning?
Spot zoning involves a particular piece of property that is, if you will, allowed a use that is different from the surrounding zones, as well as not being in compliance with the overall plan of development.
Mm-hmm.
It's a two-step analysis.
Mm-hmm.
And before you ask me about the PDDs exist in full zones, and that's why they're allowed to float down and be established in a zone that a use wouldn't have been there before. But if you're not using a PDD and you're changing a zone, spot zoning is changing the zone to be differential or different from the surrounding area and not in compliance with the overall plan. Usually, spot zoning involves a small piece of property, but it's been also found in parcels as big as 18 and a half.
Acres?
Can you hear me? Because my,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hear you.
okay, I can't see you. Something happened to my computer, but I was saying that spot zoning has also been found to be in parcels as big as 18 and a half acres being changed to a particular zone.
But is that one parcel, one lot?
It really depends on every particular case. More overriding concept is it in violation of the overall plan?
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
isn't there an implication that it's in favor of a particular project or developer?
Well, that's the part about the particular piece of property. That's the
Yeah.
first component.
Mhm. So in a case like this where we have specific addresses that we know of ahead of time, each individual parcel could be considered to be spot zoning.
I think each individual parcel needs to be looked at with regard to the analysis I just gave you. And if you conclude that it violates or it has those two elements, then yes, it would be spot zoning.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, well, I'll go back to how I originally started, unless anybody has any questions for the applicant or for Attorney Tito. So, but seeing that we have some material to review that came in rather late.
Commissioner Parkins will make a motion, to keep the public hearing open.
Okay. All right, so there is a motion from Commissioner Parkins to continue the public hearing. Is there a second?
I'll second Commissioner
Okay.
Mado.
All right, so that was seconded by Commissioner Motto. So on the motion to keep the public hearing open, Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Cristiano,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Tucci,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion is passed by a vote of 6-0.
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
if I can just request that the applicant submit a extension request, because the timeline for this, even though a guideline for this type of application expires this week.
Mhm.
Yeah, as I said before, we're acting in a legislative capacity, so I think we're allotted the extra time, but I have no problem submitting a letter.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, Attorney Billis.
So would this, so I can do the letter, would it be put over to the February 19th meeting that you referred to earlier?
Oh,
did I say, yeah, February 19th, right?
very well could be. Ms.
Okay.
Castro and I have to sort of see
Yeah,
what
yeah.
other things are coming up. Okay,
I'll leave the letter a little more open-ended then. Thank you.
okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Okay.
All right, so we're moving on to application 2434, Huntington Affordable District, BWiz LLC at 390 Shelton Avenue. Assessors map 89, lot 29, in an R1 zone for a planned development district on 5.42 acres more or less, 56 residential units under Connecticut General Statute 8-30G. The applicant has submitted a letter of extension. Is there a motion to accept the letter to extend the opening of the public hearing?
What does that mean? That, is there a specific time frame with that? How does that work?
Yeah, but the applicant is giving us more time to open public hearing and to start the time frame.
I'll make that motion.
The request was specifically for the 19th.
Okay. All right. So it's a motion to keep the public hearing, the start of the public hearing on February 19th. Okay. And that was a motion from Commissioner Kelly.
Yes, it was.
Okay. Is there a second?
Commissioner Tucci will second.
Very good. So on the motion to extend the opening of the public hearing from this evening, Commissioner Cristiano,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto, Commissioner Motto,
Oh, sorry. Aye.
okay, Commissioner Tucci,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion is passed by a vote of 6-0. Next on the agenda is old business application 2425. Attorney Stephen Bellis for Good Guys Development. I understand from Attorney Teodoso that the applicant is withdrawing this particular application. Ms. Castro, has anything been received?
Yes, I received an email this afternoon that the applicant has requested that it be removed from the agenda.
The application has been withdrawn or
The-
removed from the agenda. Attorney Teodoso, is
The
there?
request was to withdraw the applicant's request for a letter of zoning compliance stating that the property was in compliance.
All right, so the applicant had made a request to staff to issue an approval letter, and now he is withdrawing that request.
He had requested staff prepare a letter of zoning compliance, and being that we had not yet given direction on giving an approval letter, I had requested that the commission address this and provide us with some direction. So he has since requested that he withdraw his request for a letter of zoning compliance.
Okay, all right, I think we all have it. All right, so is there a motion to accept the letter?
Do we have any idea where that leaves the applicant in terms of his loan?
You didn't hear the last word.
Is he able to move forward with his loan without that letter?
I think it was required for the closing, wasn't it? Attorney
Correct.
Alonso?
That I'm asking.
Well, I would like to be heard on this topic.
Okay, that's Commissioner Cristiano. Let me just ask, Attorney Titosa, did you hear what Commissioner Parkins had asked?
I don't know what the status of the loan application is with or without his letter. All I know is that he had requested a written communication from your staff. Staff wanted your input before it did anything with regard to a written communication. And now the request for the written communication has been withdrawn. That is the particular reason that this was on the agenda this evening. I think it would be inappropriate to speak to this given that withdrawal. If you're going to speak to it in any other context, I think you have to give him notice that you're going to do that.
True, okay. So we should terminate any discussion on this right now. Is that
That's
correct?
Yes.
Okay. All
Well,
right,
I would like to make a request that this matter be placed on a future date and we can address topics in the hearing that was held on October 23rd, where the attorney representing the applicant was misrepresented some information to this commission.
Attorney Titosa, do you have any comment about that?
You have the right to put anything you want on your agenda. You have to do it properly. You have to notice it. And you have to give the other an opportunity to be heard. So
Exactly.
if that's
Okay.
something you want to do, you can do it.
All right. Well, right now, what's in front of us is that we have to act on and have a motion to accept the letter of withdrawal.
That's correct.
Okay. Is there a commissioner that would like to make that motion?
Commissioner Kelly will make that motion.
And is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you very much. So on the motion for withdrawal of the letter made by Commissioner Kelly, seconded by Commissioner Amato. Do a roll call, Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Ticky,
Aye.
Commissioner Amato,
Aye.
Commissioner Cristiano,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion is passed by a vote of 6-0. Thank you.
So will I be heard now on my request to have this brought forward?
We heard.
Okay, just want to clear that's on the record that I'm requesting it.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next is application 2435, 10 Long Hill Avenue LLC at 10 Long Hill Avenue, assessors map 117B, lot 49 in a CB2 zone, final site development plans for a 3-story residential building consisting of 17 one-bedroom apartments and on-site parking. This application was accepted for review on December 11th of 2024. Posted to the city's website are the final site development plans, a drainage report, comments from the city engineer and fire marshal, and to modify the required number of affordable units from 3 to 2 due to the reduction in the number of overall units. Is the applicant present?
Pat Rose, representing the applicant. Rose
Okay.
Tizo and Company, 35 Brentwood Avenue, Fairfield, Connecticut.
Okay, Mr. Rose, please proceed.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. What you see before you is the site plan for 10 Long Hill Avenue. Very similar to the site plan that we came in with for initial development approval, where we have a building which was substantially smaller than previous buildings that we showed. There are 17 apartments in the building, and we have 34 parking spaces underneath the building and outside the building. The way we're proposing the circulation to happen is one way in closest to Long Hill Avenue, closest to side street, and then coming back and around and out further away, which will help us in stacking issues. We have done a bunch of a set of site plans, drainage and the like, which I will have Manny Silva go through in a couple minutes. I just go back to the building just to show you that the layout of the building has not changed from our initial development plans. We have, parking underneath, electric room, water meter room, stairs on either end, a lobby off of Long Hill Avenue with mail, elevator, and entrance from the parking area. We have the same apartments that we showed, first floor having an office and a fitness center in an area that is subterranean. It's underground because there's a substantial retaining wall in the rear of the building. All of the units are 1-bedroom units. They range from, say, 820 square feet to 841. The biggest one is 924 because it's got this little piece that is next to the elevator. It makes it a little bare, little home office area probably. Second floor, we have all apartments. In the center, there's a rework room that's provided. Same apartment layouts around the elevator. Third floor, same apartment layout, except there's a lounge on that third floor. What we've done, dealing with the grades, this building itself has a 5% grade inside the parking area to a flat section where we have accessible parking spaces, and then 5%, and then you come around and exit out here. The trash enclosures here, which is can be directly accessed down the driveway. We have provided grillage at that parking level area. And the lower section is going to end up being brick. We've shown a brick. Let's see if we can get a little closer. Let's see what's going on. So we're using a rose-colored brick on the lower section. The vinyl siding will be herringbone. It's a light gray siding. This location, and then the shakes will be a darker gray, granite gray here, and we've got a gray and black roof on top. So we've shown what we're going to be proposing for siding exterior finishes. This elevation is as you enter in off of Long Hill Crossroads and into the parking area, and you can see the slope that's behind the building. And we've added screening plantings at the top of the slope, which was one of the comments from neighbors trying to screen the building from the upper road, High Street. As you can see, the rear of the building, you have a slope that goes from, full story up to almost, almost 2 stories on this side. So you can see this as you exit here going out to Long Hill Avenue. So I'll stop sharing. I believe Manny can share his own and let him go through the site development plans.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is Manny Silva from Rose T-Zone Company, registered civil engineer in the state of Connecticut, 35 Brentwood Avenue, Fairfield. Again, as Mr. Rose was detailing, the building itself is an existing, had some existing buildings, kind of like had a little office and then some construction area, like construction uses. They had some construction trucks and things of that nature, some piles back here. But in general, the property has a steep slope up to, I think it's Hill Street up here. Well, let me just go back one. I think it has the location map. Yep, it's the property itself is kind of a wedge as Long Hill Avenue comes into Center Street. And then what you have is basically a one-way circulation. People could come in underneath the covered parking. There's 34 spaces total, and then come out further away from the intersection, and then can go down to back out to Center Street. The drainage is basically right now the site has some catch basins on site that are directly connected out to Long Hill Avenue and then into the brook that passes underneath Long Hill Avenue here and down out to the Housatonic River behind Porky's. What we have is actually we'll collect all our drainage under the building and on the roof, and put it into an underground gallery system. We have about approximately 64 lineal feet of 4x4 gallery proposed here underneath the building in the parking area. And what that does is that we'll have snouts in our catch basins to collect any floatables, oil bottles, things of that nature. And then our roof leader will come directly connect into the galleries, as that is clean water from the roof itself. From there, there's a control structure, as you can see here. The water will back up into the gallery system and not go out into the street, except for a small controlled orifice that's here at the bottom, which is a 6-inch orifice at the bottom. And then here at the top, we have a high flow overflow to control the flow at the 100-year storm. So we'll be collecting majority of the stormwater on site in the gallery system. And the numbers to that is the existing discharge is here from the 5 to 100-year storm. And then we have a reduction at the 5-year storm of 17%, 26% at the 10-year storm, 33% reduction at the 25-year storm, 22% reduction at the 50-year storm, and a 2.7% reduction at the 100-year storm. So we meet the DEP's water quality volume requirements. We meet the town's requirement to have reductions at all storm events. And then we also meet the state's MS4 because the site right now is completely connected to the to the town drainage system. And then we are taking it completely offline, 100% offline with our drainage system here. Next is our soil and erosion control plan. Since the site is on the plateau portion below and there's a hill above, we put some silt fence on the hill above here. Again, we don't anticipate a lot of sediment coming from there because we're going to leave that as natural up there in that area. And then we have our retaining wall going in here with some drainage on the surface, kind of a curtain drain to pick up water coming off of the slope so it doesn't spill over the retaining wall or anything like that. That'll be collected also into this system. And then we have silt fence along Long Hill Avenue, a soil stockpile area here that's surrounded by silt fence. We have 2 anti-tracking pads to take the mud off of the wheels of any construction vehicle coming in and off site. And then we have silt sacks in all the catch basins. And then the ones out here in the road also to protect any mud or any kind of storm water with any kind of suspended solids in it, and that'll filter it out before going into the basin itself. We have our construction sequencing here. We have our silt fence detail here. Anti-tracking pad is here. Here's our stockpile detail, silt fence basically around the pile itself. And then we have an ornamental landscaping plan. We are going to put some evergreens on the uphill side of the property to kind of screen the upper parts of the building. If you can imagine, these trees will be up higher, much higher up on grade. So once they become full growth, they'll completely screen the building from the uphill side from Hill Street here.
What plants are those?
Those are arborvitae.
Arborvitae.
Yep, they're arborvitaes, and then we have some Austrian pines going on here. I mean, to kind of screen the side of the building from Center Street and
Austrian
the,
pines.
yeah, we have some. They're behind Sierra Suites too. That's something we used back there. We could
Doesn't
substitute
sound
those for the
native
white.
somehow. Never heard of it.
We could substitute that for the white firs that we have, or basically like a white pine or something like that.
White
Um,
pines are not
yep, we could substitute
good
for white
for
pine.
screening, maybe cedars, something
Yep,
else.
sure. Yeah, like a red cedar.
Yeah, because the
Yep,
white pines will get too big and drop their bottom limbs before you know it.
correct.
They're really
So
not
what
good
we'll
for
do is
screening.
we'll do oop, we'll do red cedars.
Yeah.
Was any environmental mitigation required on this property due to previous uses? Do you know? Was a phase 2 done?
There was environmental. I can't remember if there anything got turned up, but I spelled cedars. I murdered that.
Oh, you were trying to do a Latin version there.
I can revive a dead language. The 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 there is I think I remember seeing monitoring wells on the property. So there must have been some kind of environmental investigation.
Remediation taken care of.
Yeah, I think everything was taken care of. Yeah. So I think that was done by a previous owner to the property.
So are the wells still being monitored?
I don't think I think that's been mitigated, so there's no longer need for well monitoring. But I haven't looked at. I can't tell you for 100% because I haven't seen the LEP report.
Is there any documentation anywhere as to what the previous occupant of this particular parcel was over the years and what kind of business was here? Because all I remember are some buildings, but I don't know what it was used for.
I mean, just because I grew up in town, I kind of remember a landscaping guy. Yep, Pepper's Landscaping. There was, let's see, let's go all the way back to 28. There was a construction guy, I think.
It was an environmental company too.
Correct. Yep.
What are those other dates? What's that October 2000? That's October 2008. That's up on the screen now.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So this was someone called, looks like
Yeah, I think it was GMC.
ENC. Yeah. And then as you could see, EMC.
EMC.
Alternative Global Energy Laboratory. So it was a lab. And then
About the garage up, yeah.
yeah, the garage was like turned into an office of some
Okay.
sort for EMC. And then at some point, it was release
What's that?
or for sale,
Yeah.
2016. And then it was still for rent. 2019, I think, well, there's a pizza truck. Then it was just labeled as private parking. Looks like it was used for parking for something. And then this is when the landscaping guys moved in. They knocked all the buildings down and the air they just left their back retaining walls. And yeah, it was Pepper's Landscaping. That had it after that. And there's your uncontrolled drainage going right onto the street. So that's the soil and erosion control plan. And then as far as it doesn't look like there was any heavy industrial uses or anything going on, at least in the last 10 years or so. We have our standard details. Again, sewer connection, concrete sidewalk out front. handicap ramps, and this is our soil and erosion control, construction sequencing, and details. And if there's any more questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And we'll definitely change these arborvitaes to red cedars.
Thank you.
That's not a problem.
So I know Attorney Teodoso is still with us. Attorney Teodoso, if there was something where there was more of an industrial use on this property back, say like 30, 40 years ago, is there any cause for concern?
Well, yours is the zoning decision. What you're asking about is really an environmental issue. There has to be environmental compliance with the property in order to get financing, in order to have everything cleared through deep. There might be, if you will, limitations on the property placed there by deep based on what's in the ground, i.e., sometimes you can't have residential property developed because of what's below the ground, but that all is, like I say, handled by deep, not by planning and zoning.
So
Right,
that
but
would
would
be
that be recorded on the land records?
Yes,
All right, so a title search would show that.
that's correct.
It
Yeah,
would be
absolutely.
permit driven.
Well, it would also, the Transfer Act of the state of Connecticut, if the property was being transferred, it has to be cleaned before it can be transferred for another
Correct.
owner.
Correct,
Okay.
but that operates outside of planning and zoning. That's
Right.
through deep in applications and permits.
All right, so when the current owner obtained this property, that issue should have come up
Right.
at that time.
Well, if it didn't and the current owner tries to get financing, it's going to come up real fast.
Okay. Got it.
Especially if there was any kind of monitoring, well monitoring going on.
You're right.
I mean, understandably, there's a, parking garage going on the first floor, so there's not residential being built right on top of it, but still.
And some of the deep permits are very detailed. They say what kinds of uses will be allowed and what won't.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
All right, but that's not part of our real house, so to speak. So, all right.
So we've
Mr. Silva,
received
yeah, go
a letter from the town and city engineer, and he's approved the project, the drainage, and received there's an email, I believe, on file from the fire marshal's office regarding it, like positive.
Excuse me. Okay. Mr. Silva, you have anything else for us?
No, just to have a great night and be careful tomorrow with the weather. 'Cause we're having snow like every 2 days or something coming up.
Ridiculous.
Winter.
Isn't it good that we're doing this by Zoom?
Called winter.
So over it.
Was I gonna say, so does anybody have any questions for the applicant? For Mr. Rose or for Mr. Silva?
No. Looks good.
All right, so how does the commission wish to proceed with this application?
Was there something else regarding this application that was going to be discussed?
I know
Affordable,
I have concerns that we do not have.
the affordable house, the affordable units?
Oh, the 2 units,
Yeah.
because we had more units at one time, it was rounded up to 3, but when we reduced it down to 17, it never got rounded back to 2.
So, lucky us.
I mean, I know in my notes, at least in my notes of the presentation, it said we were saying 2, but I guess when it got written up, it did say 3 in development plans.
What was the original count?
Original count was 24, I believe.
Let's see.
So it was 48, which would have been 5 units at 10%, right?
No. 24 units, which would have been 2.4. So it would have been 3 units.
3 units.
According to my notes on 10 Long Hill Avenue, back in November of 2023, it was originally 19 apartments, 27 parking spaces. And then in March of 2024, we heard revised proposal for 17 units. And that's what
So
we,
if it's 20 units, that would have been 4.
Would have been 2. It's 10%.
I know, I keep doing that math wrong. Darn it. Hey, I'm just championing for the city, you know?
all right. All right, so we have to include that in the any approvals or whatever. But one of the concerns I have is as it's either myself or staff that signs off on final site development plans. And we don't have anybody on staff right now to verify that everything is as we expect it to be. So the only way to get around that is for peer review to be done. I guess that's the category it would fall into. And the applicant would have to pay for that.
Well, just an independent review of the drawing,
Yeah, independent
not
review.
really a peer review.
Right. So we could make that approval go forward tonight with that contingency that it's a motion to approve contingent on the commission receiving a favorable review by a licensed engineering firm with the cost of that to be borne by the applicant. So I don't.
Yeah, we have to let us know what that is and, time frame, I guess.
Mhm. Mr. Rose, speak up again.
Just have to let us know, you know, you're gonna select an engineer to do that, and there's gonna be a cost associated with it that the owner needs to know about.
Yeah,
In the time frame it may take to take care of it.
right. I would hope that if this was if staff worked on this right away, that and give them a time frame that it's got to be done so that it's on our meeting of the 26th. So that's a good.
Well, can't we approve it? Final site plans contingent upon a third party
Favorable. Can we do
engineer
that?
approval? Well,
Commissioner
why would we
Parker,
have to have them come back
That's what I was saying. This is what we could do a
contingent upon?
an approval contingent on receiving a favorable report from a licensed engineering firm.
That's fine.
Okay. All right.
And are we making a motion to change the,
Yeah, unless there's some
Okay.
other concerns from any other of the commissioners. And then as well as that would be number 2 affordable housing units. All right, if there are any other questions, is there someone that wants to put together a motion for that?
so Commissioner Parkins will make a motion to grant the applicant's request to change from 3 affordable housing units to 2 based on the decrease in the count of units, as well as a contingent approval or approval of the final site development plans contingent upon a licensed engineer approving the drawings
Mm-hmm.
to be cost to be borne by the applicant.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Okay, I think you did. Is there someone that would like to second that motion?
Commissioner,
Second.
go ahead.
Second, that Commissioner Cristiano.
Okay. All right, so on the motion made by Commissioner Parkins to grant the request of the applicant to reduce their 3 to affordable housing units to 2, and the approval is contingent upon a licensed engineer reviewing the site plans and giving us a favorable review. I'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Kelly.
Aye.
Commissioner Ticky.
Aye.
Commissioner Motto.
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins.
Aye.
Commissioner Cristiano.
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Motion is passed by a vote of 6-0. So staff is directed to obtain the services of a licensed engineering firm. And we would like to get that on the agenda for February 26th. So let's give them a deadline of, say, Friday, February 21st to get the information to us. And seeing that the office is closed on Monday, the 24th, to have it come in on the 25th would not give us some time to, enough time to look it over. Okay,
For clarification, you want the response from the review by that date?
yes, we do.
Okay, I'll do my best.
We'll talk tomorrow.
It doesn't need to come back before the commission, though.
No, but I think staff.
You
is
just
gonna
need to
have
know it's been
more-
reviewed so you can sign off on the drawings.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think it would just come back to us if there's an issue.
An
Yeah,
issue.
exactly.
Excuse me, Commissioner,
Go ahead.
wouldn't Pat Rose be the one to sign off on that? His
No.
firm?
No, because he's representing the applicant. He can't.
The
No.
cities need something for the city's interest.
Yeah. It's gotta be
Okay.
an independent outside. All right, so we're done with application 2435. Thank you.
Thank you
Mr.
very
Morris.
much.
Thank you,
Have a
Mr.
good evening.
Silva.
Yeah.
And we'll move on to the public portion. If there's any public official, elected official from the city of Shelton who would like to comment on an item not on the agenda, please use Zoom's raise your hand feature or dial *9 on your phone.
No one showing.
Okay. If there's any member of the public who would like to address the commission on an item that's not on the agenda, please use Zoom's raise your hand feature or dial *9.
No one showing.
Okay, very good. Then we will move on to other business. And the bond reduction for Gamble Place, does staff have some comments about that?
Yes, so the applicant requested that the bond be reduced from $514,235 to $50,000. Sorry, I'll share my screen here for you guys. And we had a review by our city engineer who agreed with the reduction. We also have a review from our zoning enforcement and wetlands enforcement officer agreeing with that request.
Okay. All right, and the city engineer specifically talked about that they have been looking and monitoring this particular development, and Gamble Place can be used for vehicular traffic.
Yes, that was discussed in verbal conversation.
And then Mr. Baya, our CEO, also concurred with the reduction to the $50,000.
Correct. They leave this at the 50 for the duration of the season, a new season.
Yeah, usually it's to make sure that any shrubs that might have lasted over the winter get
Correct.
replaced and all that kind of stuff. All right, does anyone have any questions for Ms. Castro?
You do not.
Okay, is there someone that would like to make a motion to this request to reduce the bond?
I'll make the motion to approve as suggested by our officials.
Okay, so there's a motion to approve the request for the reduction in bond that's backed up by our zoning enforcement officer and our city engineer. Is there a second?
Commissioner Ticky will second.
Okay, thank you very much. Do a roll call. Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Cristiano,
All right.
Commissioner Ticky,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion is passed by a vote of 6-0. Next on the agenda are comments from the chair. I have none at this time. Commissioner Motto, do you have anything for zoning subcommittee?
No, I don't.
Okay, and staff comments is next. Ms. Castro, do you have any?
I do.
Okay,
So I wanted to provide the commission with some updates on our affordable housing status of where staff is in preparing the requested information. So previously we had hoped to bring on an affordable housing administrator, which was something Tony Panico had recommended over the years, but we had pivoted to having staff monitor as best as we can. Given the recent staff changes, it's been difficult to tackle with the attention that is required. Right now, Alex Rossetti, who was our previous administrator and has the most knowledge on affordable housing, and he was the point person in creating our affordable housing plan, has been tasked with creating a calculation chart for the commission. This is being built from scratch and it includes a lot of different factors. So we're not just looking at the total number of apartments we've designated. We also have to factor in different AMI percentages like 60% versus 80%, the length of time the affordable restrictions are in place, the bedroom count, and much more. It's 0.5 point to 2.5 points, depending on all these different items. So we know this has taken some time and we appreciate your patience. We're working to get this to you for review within the next few weeks. Additionally, we have recently met with an affordable housing consultant to see what kind of assistance, if any, they could provide. And while we're still early on in the discussion, we're hoping that they can help conduct an audit of all of the previously approved developments to ensure each property is in compliance with what the commission's decisions were and that they're following state guidelines, and confirm that all the affordable units are being properly occupied. We hope that this will be beneficial in our monitoring moving forward. On another topic, our city administration has been in discussions with NVCOG on obtaining a town planner, which may potentially be a shared planner, but again, still early in discussion. So we're making some progress. There are upcoming meetings already scheduled with NVCOG and the city administration, and I hope to have updates for you in the coming weeks. I will keep moving forward on this and I will keep you all updated.
Let me just ask Ms. Castro, that outside consultant, what's that person's background?
His name is Mark Nolan, and he is a consultant for several different towns throughout the state of Connecticut. He's not the only one, but he's one of a very few. He works in Ridgefield, Danbury, I believe. He was associated to Trumbull at some point. There's a long list. So again, it doesn't need to be him, but knowing what our options are available to us and trying to obtain some financing calculations.
And
that would be the shared planner?
No, this is the person
No.
to
for the affordable housing counts?
affordable housing, yeah. How did that person come to staff's attention?
He was sought out by Ray Baldwin, who he was recommended by another town, I'm not sure which one, that they had used and they had been pleased with. He's very familiar with Department of Housing regulations, so that was Ray Baldwin find.
All right, so Mr. Baldwin did some legwork on this.
Correct.
Okay, all right. Anyone have any questions for Ms. Castro?
I'm just hoping the person that we've asked to help with the ADUs has the time and attention to this. If this is the same person that kind of put us into a little sticky situation with the ADU issue that we had not too long ago, completely forgetting that we had opted out.
Oh, that was me looking at the research and trying to figure out if we had done it. I had not attended the 2021 commission meetings when you guys made that decision, so that's a fault of mine.
Okay.
I'm not looking to place blame. I'm just making sure that the person that's going to be working on this is focused. Let's put it that way.
Understood.
Yeah, there's a lot of background that they have to become familiar with, that's for sure. Okay.
And a shared planner, I think we have to be very careful because we are a very, very busy commission.
Absolutely.
So we have to make sure that whatever shared component we're getting is more than 50%.
I would also be concerned about the philosophy that person he or she might bring to the table.
Correct. And what other town they may be supporting.
True. Yeah, it's not cut and dry. It's for sure. All right, our final agenda item is approval of the January 15th, 2025 minutes. Does anyone have any comments or changes for these minutes?
I do not make a motion to approve the minutes, January 15th.
As submitted?
as submitted.
Okay, so there's a motion from Commissioner Parkins to approve the January 15 minutes as submitted. Did I hear a second?
Commissioner
Commissioner
Cristiano.
Maddow. Whoop, for
Oh.
Commissioner Cristiano.
They were
Okay.
long, seemed long minutes.
I can't hear you, Commissioner Cristiano. They
They seemed like very long minutes.
Oh, this is nothing. Minutes used to be 40 pages.
Yeah, word for
That's
word.
right.
To be verbatim.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were
They were
very,
awesome. They were awesome, though. Gotta admit.
yeah. That person
But
has
now we have recordings, so it's probably
Yeah.
easier.
for sure. Okay, so on the motion to approve as submitted, made by Commissioner Parkins, seconded by Commissioner Cristiano, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Let the record show the vote was 6-0 with no commissioners voting nay and no commissioners abstaining. And as there's no other item on the agenda, the chair will declare this evening's meeting is adjourned as of 8:16 p.m. Thank everyone. Good night. We'll see you in
Good
2
night, everyone.